Good morning everyone, how are we all doing today? What an absolutely beautiful morning up here in Fort William. At the moment I've got my jacket on, but I don't think that's going to be stopping on for long. And I may have to apply some suntan cream. It looks like the weather forecast was correct in that we're not going to have any rain, certainly not today. It doesn't look like it anyway. The only problem with that is, will the midges be out in force? Anyway, I've got a plan of action for them if they do come out. So last night, as you saw in my previous video, I stayed at the Garrison Hotel. It was okay as a one-off experience, staying in an old police cell, but the room was tiny and the price was a little bit eye-watering, shall we say. It's the most expensive place that I'm stopping at on this route. Would I stay there again? No, probably not at that price anyway, and I didn't even get breakfast included. Luckily there was a Spean's literally 1 minute's walk away from the hotel, so I went in there, had my breakfast in there. Last night I called into my go-to place in Fort William, the Grog and Gruel. Can highly recommend it in there. They usually have a very good selection of real ales, and the food's pretty good in there as well. Last night I had haggis nachos and it was very tasty indeed. I can actually recommend the hot dogs that they do in there. They do use real pork sausages rather than those Frankfurter type you normally get in hot dogs. The only choice you've got to make is whether you want 6 inches or 12 inches. I'll leave that for you to decide. Anyway, today the route, day one, takes me from Fort William to Spean Bridge. Now normally if you're doing the same sort of itinerary that I'm doing, a 6-day, if you're camping you'd stop at a place round about Gairlochie. Unfortunately, because I'm using B&Bs in guest house, there isn't any of that type of accommodation there, so I had to look elsewhere, and the closest I could find was at Spean Bridge. That does add an extra 3 or so miles onto the journey today, but it is all flat. We're following the Caledonian Canal. I think there might be a little bit of a climb as we go up into Spean Bridge. As I say, it's an easy day, so it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, we're following the Caledonian Canal on the Great Glen Way. It does go through 3 lochs, not locks, as in canal locks. 3 locks, Loch Lochy, Loch Oich, and then finally we go along the banks of Loch Ness. Will we see Nessie? Wait and find out. Yeah, that's a nice welcoming sign at the start of the walk. So let's have a look at today's route that I'm going to be taking. Yeah, just after you pass or come away from the River Lochy, you'll come across this bridge which we have to cross, called the Soldiers Bridge. However, if you take a little diversion down this path here, you will come to Inverloch Castle, or the ruins of Inverloch Castle anyway. Looks like they're doing some maintenance work on it, or just to try and keep it still standing. I believe this was constructed in the 12th century or 13th century. Looks as though it was an imposing site. However, it did fall out of favour, and I think it was abandoned in the 17th century when they constructed the fort at Fort William. Whenever I'm doing one of these walks, I always take time to look back. We're about 3 miles in now, and if you look back from the way we've come, across there is Fort William, but then up there, that mountain with a couple of clouds over it, that's Ben Nevis, tallest mountain in the UK. So just over the 3 mile mark into the walk, you'll come across a famous shipwreck. Now everybody that does the Great Glen Way films this shipwreck, and I'm going to be no different. Now it's not actually that ship we can see there. That must be a fairly recent one. I don't know anything at all about that. The one I'm talking about is just up here. So this is the shipwreck I'm talking about. As I say, everybody films this or takes photographs. Not many people actually give you any information about it, so here we go. It was built in 1975 and it's about 35 metres long. It was originally called the MV Dayspring, but it was later renamed as the Golden Harvest. It was used as a fishing vessel in the North Sea, and then did a little stint over in Northern Ireland before coming back to Scotland. However, due to the oil prices, etc., it stopped being a fishing vessel. And I think in about 2009 somebody else purchased it, and their plan was to turn it into a floating seafood restaurant. Unfortunately that never materialised, and in December 2011 there was a massive storm and it broke from its moorings. The Coast Guard had to come out and they actually pushed it onto the shore, and this is where it's lain ever since. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of information. Just over 3.5 miles in now, and you finally get to meet up with the Caledonian Canal. Now the canal itself was constructed in the early 19th century, and it was constructed by the famous Scottish engineer Thomas Telford. Now I've come across some of his handiwork before when I was doing the West Highland Way. As I say, it links Fort William with Inverness, and it goes through 3 lochs: Loch Lochy, Loch Oik and Loch Ness. Yeah, always look back. Still got views of Ben Nevis. Just over 4 miles into the walk today, and you come to a place called Bannerby. Now this is actually a swing bridge for any high vehicles that are coming along the canal, but here you'll find an engineering masterpiece, and this is called Neptune's Staircase. It's a series of 8 locks that raise the canal 62 feet in about a distance of 1/4 mile. Now I understand that it does take boats about 90 minutes to get through here. Well, we're about 10.5 miles into the walk today, and you come to a place called Moy Bridge. That's the old bridge keeper's cottage across there. And the thing about this bridge is it's the only surviving original bridge crossing across the Caledonian Canal that still survives. The only reason it was actually built was so that a local farmer could get his cattle from one side of the canal to the other, and only the farmer was allowed to use the bridge. Now, whether that's still in force or not today, I don't know. But the strange thing about this bridge is it is hand operated, and when you close it, you can only close half of the bridge at a time. So say you're on this side, you swing that half across, and then down here you've got a boat. You then get in the boat, go across to the other side and close the other half of the bridge. Very ingenious. So we're not far from Gairlochie now, and this section of the path, you've got the Caledonian Canal on that side, and then on the other side you've got the River Lochie. So we've made it to Gairlochie. According to my OS Maps app, I've done exactly 12 miles, and it's taken me 4 hours, even with all the stopping for filming, etc. I reckon if I hadn't done any filming, it probably only take me 3 hours. But yes, I know I'm not carrying a big rucksack or anything. However, it is all flat, and so you can make good progress. So Gairlochie. Apparently there was originally only one lock here, but due to some flooding that occurred, they had to build a second lock, and the second lock is the only lock on the canal that wasn't built originally for the canal. Now we do have another swing bridge. This carries the B8004 to Spean Bridge, which is where I'll be heading, and across there you've got your second lock. Now they do, I believe, allow camping here. There is a small campground, and there's also a small toilet and shower block. Now I haven't looked into this myself because I'm not using them, but I understand either at Fort William or when you get to the Caledonian Canal, you pay somebody somewhere £10, you get a key, and you can use these toilet and shower blocks which are dotted along the route. Where they all are, I've no idea. As I say, I'm not using them. Anyway, this is where I'll leave the Great Glen Way for now, and that's the way I'm heading, to Spean Bridge. Yeah, we're not far from Spean Bridge now. I don't know if you can make out there the remains of a bridge, and it's called General Wade's High Bridge. It was actually constructed in 1736 and was 80 feet tall. Now, it was the scene of the first shots fired in the Jacobite uprising in 1745. Unfortunately, it fell into disrepair some years later, and in 1819 Thomas Telford, yes, that same engineer, was commissioned to build a new bridge spanning the River Spean about 1.5 miles further up, and that gave Spean Bridge its name. There are plans to try and restore some of the bridge, although from the looks of it there's not a lot they can do. Well, we're just about to come into the village of Spean Bridge, where I'm staying tonight. I'm sorry if I've bombarded you a little bit today with facts and figures and the history in the area, but when I do these walks, it's something I like to find out about, what's gone off in the past and all stuff like that. So once again, I apologise, but I hope you don't mind too much. Now, the walk today, it's been fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Been pan flat all the way from Fort William to Gairlochie, And then it's just been a little bit lumpy on this last stretch from Gairlochie to Spean Bridge, but nothing too taxing. So the legs are fine, and I'm sure once I've had some sustenance and refreshments in the village tonight, we'll be all back to normal. Now the weather today, it did get a bit cloudy earlier on, and I have kept my jacket on for most of the day. The reason behind that, there's been a very nice, cool, refreshing breeze blowing all day, which has kept the temperature down. Been perfect for walking, things like that. The only thing I've got left to do is give you a little preview or a little look at the accommodation that I'm stopping at tonight. And after that, I'll catch you all tomorrow. Yeah, so this is where I'm staying tonight, the Coal Glass Guest House. So this is the room I've got at the guest house. Twin bedded room. Absolutely spacious compared to the cell that I had last night. And let's walk in the bathroom. Nice big shower there. And yeah, this looks lovely.